I'm Daisy Evans, the real heiress of Evans Group. At least, that's what my name says on paper. But if you saw how I live right now, you'd think I'm just a well-dressed puppet who smiles when she's told, signs when she's told, and never asks questions she's not supposed to ask. People say I'm lucky. Engaged to the perfect man, surrounded by family, living a life most people would kill for. The truth is simpler. I don't remember choosing any of this. My fiancé is Ryan Blake. He's the kind of man everyone trusts the moment they see him. Calm voice, perfect manners, always one step ahead. In public, he's the future son-in-law of Evans Group. In private, he's the one who decides what I eat, where I go, and even when I sleep. I used to think that was love. Lately I'm not so sure. The company itself is currently run by my uncle, Barry Moore. After my parents died, he stepped in as the acting chairman. He always says he's doing it for my sake, because I'm too fragile to handle pressure. Standing next to him is his daughter, Rosa Moore, my cousin. She calls me little sister, with a soft smile, always gentle, always supportive, always watching. If you didn't look closely, you'd think she cares about me more than anyone else in the world. And then there's me, the girl who can't remember chunks of her own life. It started with headaches. Sudden, sharp, like something cracking inside my skull. Then came the gaps. I would walk into a room and forget why I was there. I would read a message and feel like I had seen it before, but I couldn't place when. Sometimes I would look at Ryan and feel nothing. And that scared me more than anything. Daisy, you're overthinking again. Ryan's voice pulled me back. He was standing close, adjusting my collar like he always did. You just need to rest. I've already asked Dr. Alan Cross to prepare something for your headaches. Dr. Alan Cross, the family doctor, the one who has been treating me ever since the accident started. He doesn't talk much, just prescribes, injects, and leaves. I nodded like I always do, because that's what a good fiancé does. But today felt different, because earlier that morning, I saw someone I wasn't supposed to see. His name is Sebastian Hart. Even if you've never met him, you've heard of him. He's not just powerful, he's dangerous. The kind of man who doesn't need to raise his voice to make people step aside. He controls things from the shadows, and no one really knows how deep his reach goes. I saw him at the company building. He wasn't even looking at me at first. But the moment our eyes met, my chest tightened. Not fear. Not exactly. It felt like something breaking open inside me. And then, for a second, I thought I remembered something. A hand reaching out. Blood. His voice calling my name. Then the headache hit. Miss Evans, are you all right? Someone asked. I blinked, and the moment was gone. Sebastian was already walking away like nothing had happened. Like I meant nothing. But my hands were shaking. Now, hours later, I'm back in my room. Quiet. Safe. Controlled. Just the way everyone likes it. Ryan left after making sure I took the medicine. Rosa sent me a message asking if I needed anything. Barry has a meeting tomorrow and reminded me to be presentable. Everything is normal. Too normal. I sit on the edge of my bed, pressing my fingers against my temple as another wave of pain hits. It's worse tonight. Stronger. Like something is trying to push through. Stop. I whisper to myself, but it doesn't stop. Instead, images flash. A contract. My signature. Hands forcing a pen into my grip. No, that's not right. I stand up too fast. The room spinning around me. I don't remember signing anything recently. So why does it feel so real? I need something to hold on to. Something that belongs to me. I start going through my drawers. Clothes. Jewelry. Documents I don't even recognize. Everything looks like mine, but nothing feels like it belongs to me. My breathing gets faster. And then I find it. At the very back of the lowest drawer. A notebook. It's old. Plain. Almost like it was meant to be hidden. My fingers hesitate for a second before I pick it up. The moment I touch it, that same strange feeling returns. Familiar. Too familiar. I open it. The handwriting is mine. No doubt about it. The first page is empty. The second page too. Then I flip one more. And there it is. A sentence written in black ink, slightly pressed into the paper like whoever wrote it was holding back something violent. If you're reading this, it means they already took everything from you. My breath catches. They made you forget. They made you trust them. And you helped them destroy yourself. My hand starts shaking. This isn't a diary. This is a warning. To Daisy Evans, stop trusting Ryan Blake. Stop listening to Rosa Moore. Barry Moore is not protecting you. He's controlling everything. I feel like the ground just dropped beneath me. No, I whisper, but I keep reading. You love Sebastian Hart, and they erased him from your memory first. My heart slams against my chest. That name again. You didn't lose your memories by accident. You were drugged. Repeatedly. The person injecting you is Dr. Alan Cross. I drop the notebook for a second, staring at it like it might disappear if I blink. Everything inside me is screaming that this can't be real. But another part of me, the part that has been waking up little by little, already knows the answer. The headache hits again, harder than before. And this time I see it clearly. A needle. Cold liquid entering my veins. Ryan standing beside the bed. Rosa watching. And me unable to move. I stagger back, gripping the edge of the table to stay upright. They did this to me, I whisper. Silence fills the room. For the first time in a long time, I'm not confused. I'm not lost. I'm angry. Slowly, I bend down and pick up the notebook again. My own handwriting stares back at me like a version of myself that refused to disappear. If you're still alive, then fight back. I close the notebook. My reflection in the mirror looks the same as always. Calm. Elegant. Obedient. But my eyes are different. All right, I say quietly. If this is a game, then I'll play. I walk to the door, already planning my next move. Tomorrow, I'll smile at Ryan like nothing has changed. I'll let Rosa think I'm still clueless. I'll let Barry believe I'm still under control. Because the truth is, they didn't break me. They just gave me time to learn how to destroy them. And this time, I'm not the puppet anymore. I didn't sleep that night. I kept reading the notebook again and again, like if I stopped, I would fall back into whatever version of me they created. Every line was written by me, but it felt like a stranger was speaking directly into my head, warning me, pushing me forward. I memorized the important parts. Names. Patterns. Triggers. Then I hid it back exactly where I found it. If they checked my room, nothing could look different. The next morning, I became Daisy Evans again. The obedient version. The quiet version. The one they built. I walked into breakfast with a soft smile. Rosa was already there, sitting across from Barry Moore, my uncle, the man currently controlling Evans' group. He looked up from his tablet and nodded. Rosa gave me that gentle expression she always uses. Daisy, you look better today. Did you rest well? She asked. Her tone was warm, like she genuinely cared. If I didn't know the truth, I would have believed her. I did, I said, taking my seat. My voice was steady. No hesitation. Ryan Blake walked in a moment later, adjusting his watch. My fiancé, the man who controlled me without ever raising his voice. He leaned down slightly and brushed his fingers against my shoulder. Good morning, Daisy. You didn't have another headache last night, right? His eyes were searching, not worried, checking. Just a little, I replied. But I'm fine now. Barry nodded. Dr. Alan Cross will come by later. You should let him adjust your treatment. He said it casually, like it was routine. Like injecting me with something wasn't the reason I lost pieces of my life. Dr. Alan Cross, the man who has been treating me. According to the notebook, he wasn't helping me. He was the one injecting the drugs. I lowered my eyes slightly and nodded. Of course, Uncle. Inside, I was already planning. Breakfast ended quickly. Rosa had a design presentation later. She's known publicly as a rising designer in the company, but according to the notebook, most of her work wasn't hers. Ryan had a meeting with investors. Barry left for the office. Everything looked normal. Controlled. Predictable. That's exactly why it was dangerous. I stayed behind for a few minutes, pretending to finish my tea. Then I stood up and went back to my room. The moment the door closed, my expression dropped. Step 1, confirm the truth. If the notebook was right, then there had to be evidence. I opened my laptop and logged into my personal account. Nothing unusual at first glance. Emails, schedules, reports. Clean. Too clean. I checked the transaction history. And then I saw it. A document labeled, Internal Authorization Transfer. My name was on it. My signature was at the bottom. Date, 2 weeks ago. I froze. I don't remember signing this. I opened the file. It was a transfer of a significant portion of my shares in Evans Group. The recipient, a holding company connected to Barry Moore. My grip tightened on the mouse. They really made me do it, I whispered. My chest felt tight, but I forced myself to stay calm. Panic would only make me sloppy, and sloppy meant losing. I needed help. There was only one person I could reach out to. I pulled out my phone and opened a hidden contact list. It took me a few seconds to find the name. Louis Mescal. He's a hacker. Not just any hacker. He's the only person who ever worked with me when I was operating under the name Q. Back then, I built systems no one could trace. He was the one who made sure those systems stayed invisible. If anyone could help me dig deeper without alerting them, it was him. I typed a message. Still alive. 3 seconds later, my phone vibrated. Barely. You disappeared. Thought you were dead. I almost smiled. I need access. Quiet. No trace. There was a pause this time. Then, Daisy. He recognized the pattern. The way I wrote. Good. Yes. Another pause. Longer. Send me what you have. And don't trust your system. If they're messing with your memory, they're watching everything. I know. I sent the file. Within a minute, he replied. This is bad. They didn't just transfer shares. They built layers. If you try to reverse this directly, they'll know. Then don't reverse it. I typed. Just watch. Got it. Also, there's something else. What? There's external traffic in your system. Someone bigger is connected to this. Not just your uncle. My eyes narrowed slightly. Name. Still tracing. But whoever it is, they're not small. A name from the notebook surfaced in my mind. Alexander McKay. I didn't reply immediately. If Louis was already seeing traces, then the notebook was right again. That meant everything else in it was real too. Keep digging, I finally said. Always do, he replied. I put my phone down just as there was a knock on the door. Miss Evans, a calm voice called out. Dr. Alan Cross. Right on time. I took a slow breath and adjusted my expression before opening the door. He stood there with his usual neutral face, holding a small medical case. Mid-40s, quiet, precise. The kind of man you wouldn't question twice. Your uncle asked me to check on you, he said. Of course, doctor. Please come in. He stepped inside and placed the case on the table. Any headaches? A little last night. He nodded. That's expected. Your condition requires consistent treatment. Consistent. I watched his hands as he prepared the syringe. Clear liquid. No label. Will this help? I asked, tilting my head slightly like I always do. It will stabilize you, he said. Stabilize. I smiled faintly. Of course. I extended my arm. Inside, every instinct was screaming at me to stop him. But I didn't move. Not yet. Because I needed to confirm one more thing. As the needle touched my skin, I looked straight at him and said softly, Doctor, have you ever wondered what would happen if I remembered everything? His hand paused for a fraction of a second, almost unnoticeable. But I saw it. Then he continued like nothing happened. That wouldn't be good for your health, Miss Evans. The needle slid in. Cold liquid spread through my veins. And just like that, everything started to blur. But this time I was ready. I focused, held on to one thought, one truth. They are lying. The room shifted slightly, but I didn't collapse. I forced myself to stay conscious longer than usual. Long enough to see him pack his things. Long enough to hear him say, you should rest. The door closed. I stood there alone. My legs felt weak, but I didn't fall. Instead, I slowly clenched my fist. Got you. I walked to the mirror and looked at myself. Same face. Same calm expression. But behind it, I was awake. Completely awake. I picked up my phone and sent one more message to Louis. Confirm it. The doctor is the one injecting me. His reply came fast. Already suspected. I'll get proof. I leaned against the table, letting the dizziness settle. Everything was falling into place. Ryan, Rosa, Barry, the doctor, and someone else watching from the shadows. I let out a slow breath. All right. Then I smiled. Not the soft, obedient smile they were used to. Something colder. If you want a puppet, my voice dropped to a whisper. I'll be the most dangerous one you've ever created. The moment the drug settled in my system, I stopped reacting. That was the first change. Before, I would feel dizzy, confused, like my mind was slipping away. But now I knew what it was. I knew when it started working, how long it lasted, how deep it went. That made all the difference. I wasn't fighting it blindly anymore. I was watching it. I sat on the edge of my bed, breathing slowly, counting in my head. 10 seconds. 20. 30. The heaviness came, just like before. My vision softened at the edges. My thoughts slowed, but they didn't disappear. Good, I whispered. That means I still have control. I reached for my phone again. Louis Mescal responded almost instantly this time. He didn't ask unnecessary questions. That's why I trusted him. He was the only person who ever worked with me when I was Q, the version of me that built systems, broke networks, and never left traces. Injection confirmed, he sent. I pulled partial data from your home security feed. Doctor visits match your symptom spikes. Can you identify the compound? I typed. Working on it. But based on your description, memory suppression, emotional flattening, compliance increase, it's not standard. Someone customized this. Someone. Not just the doctor. Not just Ryan. Not just Barry. I stared at the screen for a second before typing the name. Alexander McKay. There was a longer pause this time. Then Louis replied, Where did you get that name? It's in my notes. Connected to everything. Another pause. Then you're in deeper than I thought, he sent. Alexander McKay isn't public. No records, no official identity. But I've seen traces of that name in encrypted transactions before. Whoever he is, he's not just behind your family. He's bigger. I leaned back slightly, letting that settle in. So this wasn't just a family betrayal. It was a system. Keep digging, I said. I will. But Daisy, don't push too fast. If they notice you changing, they'll tighten control. I smiled faintly. That's why I won't change. I put the phone down. That was step 2. Stay invisible. The next few days, I played my role perfectly. I took the medicine. I let Dr. Alan Cross inject me without resistance. I even asked him once, softly, Will I always need this? Just to see his reaction. He gave the same answer. Calm. Controlled. For your stability. I smiled and thanked him. Rosa invited me to review her latest design collection. She stood beside me, explaining each piece like she always does. Elegant voice. Confident posture. What do you think, Daisy? She asked. I looked at the sketches, and I recognized them. Not from memory. From instinct. These are strong, I said calmly. But the structure here is unstable. If you adjust this line, I picked up a pen and made a small change. Rosa froze for half a second. Then she smiled again. You're right. That's much better. She didn't ask how I knew, but I saw it in her eyes. Suspicion. Good. Let her feel it. At the company, Barry continued to treat me like a symbol. He brought me into meetings just to sit quietly beside him. Observe, he would say. You'll learn. So I observed. Not what he showed me. What he tried to hide. The documents he skipped. The calls he took outside. The names he didn't mention. Ryan stayed close as always. He checked on me constantly. You've been doing well lately, he said one afternoon, his hand resting lightly on my shoulder. More stable. I'm glad. Me too, I replied. He smiled, but his eyes didn't. That told me everything. Then came the first real move. Rosa had a major presentation scheduled. A new design line she planned to launch under the Evans brand. High visibility. High stakes. Perfect timing. The night before the presentation, I messaged Louis. I need access to Rosa's project files. Already inside, he replied. You want me to leak something? Not yet. Just prepare a switch. Define switch. Replace her final version with the original draft. There was a short pause. Then, you're setting her up. Yes. Clean or messy? I thought about it for a second. Clean. Let her expose herself. Understood. The next day, I stood beside Rosa as she presented. She was confident. Smooth. Every word perfectly placed. until she reached the core design. She paused, just for a second, then continued, but I could see it. The confusion, because what was on the screen wasn't the version she practiced. It was incomplete, flawed, inconsistent. Barry frowned slightly. Ryan leaned forward. "What's this?" someone in the room asked. Rosa forced a smile. "This is an earlier iteration. Let me clarify." But it was too late. Questions started coming in. Details she couldn't answer. Structures she didn't fully understand. Because they weren't hers. I stayed silent the entire time. Watching. Learning. When the meeting ended, Rosa walked out quickly, her composure barely holding. I followed at a distance. She turned a corner and stopped, gripping the wall. "What the hell just happened?" she whispered. I stepped forward. "Rosa." She turned sharply, startled, then relaxed when she saw me. "Daisy, I don't know what went wrong." I tilted my head slightly. "It's okay. Mistakes happen." She searched my face, trying to read me. For the first time, she couldn't. Good. That night, my phone buzzed again. "Louis." "That was smooth," he said. "No trace back to you." Good. Also, I found something else. "What?" "A surveillance pattern." "You're right. Someone is watching you. Not just your family. External system. Highly encrypted." My expression didn't change. "Alexander." "Most likely." I looked out the window, the city lights reflecting faintly. So he was already watching. That meant the game had officially started. And then, a hand suddenly grabbed my wrist from behind. I turned instantly. Sebastian Hart. Up close, he was even more dangerous than I remembered. Calm. Controlled. But there was something else now. Tension. "You're playing a very risky game," he said quietly. I didn't pull away. "Then why are you here?" His grip tightened slightly. "Because you're being watched. And the person watching you doesn't lose." I held his gaze. For a moment, the world felt still. Familiar. Bonfili familiar. "Then maybe," I said softly, "it's time someone made him lose." Sebastian looked at me for a long second, like he was seeing something he thought was gone. Then he leaned in slightly, his voice dropping lower. "You don't remember everything yet," he said. "But you're already acting like her." "Like who?" His eyes didn't leave mine. "The version of you that scares everyone." My heartbeat slowed, because for the first time, that version of me didn't feel like a stranger anymore. And as he let go of my wrist, one thought became clear in my mind. I wasn't running anymore. I was hunting. Sebastian Hart didn't let go of my wrist immediately. His grip wasn't rough, but it was firm enough to remind me he wasn't someone I could ignore. Up close, I could see the tension in his jaw, the way his eyes kept scanning the area like he expected something to happen at any second. This wasn't just a warning. He was already in the middle of something. "You shouldn't be here," I said quietly. "If someone is watching me, then standing this close isn't exactly subtle." He didn't move. "I'm not here to be subtle." That answer alone told me enough. Sebastian Hart doesn't do things halfway. If he shows up, it means the situation is already serious. I pulled my wrist slightly, and this time he let go. "Then say what you came to say." He looked at me for a second, like he was deciding how much to tell me. "Your uncle, Barry Moore, your fiancé Ryan Blake, and your cousin Rosa Moore, they're not the real problem." "I already figured that out," I replied. "Then you should also know they're being used." That made me pause. "Used by who?" I asked, even though I already had a name in my head. "Alexander McKay," Sebastian said, confirming it without hesitation. "He doesn't show his face. He doesn't leave records. But everything leads back to him. So Louis was right." I crossed my arms slowly. "And you? Where do you stand in all this?" He didn't answer immediately. Instead, he stepped closer. Not threatening, just close enough to make it impossible to ignore him. "I stand on your side." My chest tightened for a second. That feeling again. Familiar. Dangerous. I forced myself to stay calm. That's a bold claim for someone I don't remember trusting. His expression changed slightly. Not anger. Not hurt. Something quieter. "You did," he said. "Before they took it from you." Before I could respond, the headache hit. This time it was worse. Sharp. Sudden. Like something tearing through my mind. I staggered back, my vision blurring instantly. My breathing went uneven, and I grabbed the edge of the wall to stay upright. Daisy. Sebastian moved fast, catching me before I fell. His hand was on my shoulder, steady, grounding. Look at me, he said. But I couldn't, because the memories came all at once. Not clear, not complete, but enough. A dark room, my body too weak to move. A voice, Ryan's voice, calm, telling someone to increase the dosage. Rosa standing beside him, watching. And Sebastian, breaking through the door. Blood on his hands, calling my name like it mattered. I gasped, my fingers gripping Sebastian's shirt without realizing it. Stop, I whispered, but the memories didn't stop. They kept coming. Fragments. Pain. Fear. And then, him. Always him. Daisy, breathe. Sebastian's voice cut through everything. His hand moved to the back of my neck, steady, firm. You're coming out of it. Stay with me. I focused on his voice, on the way he said my name. Not cold, not controlled, real. The pain started to fade, slowly. My vision cleared enough to see his face again, closer than before. There was something in his eyes now I hadn't seen earlier. Worry. Real worry. I swallowed, trying to steady myself. That wasn't supposed to happen. It's the drug, he said immediately. Your body is fighting it. I shook my head slightly. No, it's more than that. It's like something is breaking through. He went quiet for a second. Then his grip tightened just a little. Then listen to me carefully. Whatever you remember, don't let it control you. They want you unstable. I let out a slow breath. They already lost control the moment I started remembering, I said. That was the truth. And we both knew it. There was a brief silence between us. Not awkward, just heavy. Then I noticed something. A slight tremor in his hand. Small. Almost invisible. But I saw it. You're injured, I said immediately. He pulled his hand back slightly. It's nothing. That's not nothing. I stepped closer, grabbing his wrist this time. Your pulse is off. He tried to pull away, but I didn't let go. Sebastian, I said, more serious now. What is it? He looked at me like he was deciding whether to lie. Then he exhaled quietly. Poison. My grip tightened. What kind? Not the kind that kills fast, he said. The kind that breaks you slowly. My mind moved instantly. Symptoms. Loss of control. Aggression. Eventually mental collapse. Madness serum. The name from my notebook echoed in my head. So it was real. Who did this? I asked. He didn't answer. That was answer enough. Alexander McKay. Of course. I let go of his wrist slowly, but my thoughts were already racing. Poison that affects the mind. Drug that suppresses memory. Both targeting control. This wasn't random. It was a system. And Sebastian was part of it, whether he wanted to be or not. You're still moving around like this? I asked, my voice lower now. You're in the middle of this, and you didn't think to tell me? You weren't supposed to get involved, he said. I almost laughed. Too late for that. He didn't argue. Because he knew I was right. I took a step back, forcing myself to think clearly. How long do you have? A while, he said. That's not an answer. He looked at me. Long enough to finish what I started. I clenched my jaw slightly. That wasn't good enough for me. Not anymore. The old Daisy might have accepted that. The current one? No. Then change the plan, I said. His eyes narrowed slightly. What? You said it yourself, I continued. They're controlling everything. My memories. Your mind. If we keep playing their game, we lose. And your solution? He asked. I met his gaze directly. We stop reacting. Silence. Then, we take control. Something shifted in his expression. Not surprise. Recognition. Like he had heard me say something like that before. You don't even remember everything yet, he said slowly. I don't need to, I replied. I just need to know one thing. What? I didn't hesitate. They're the enemy. That was enough. More than enough. Another moment passed between us. This time, it felt different. Not tension. Alignment. He stepped closer again, but this time, not to stop me. To stand beside me. Then be careful, he said quietly. Because once you step fully into this, there's no going back. I looked straight ahead, at everything waiting for me, at everything they took. I was never going back, I said. And for the first time since this started, I wasn't just surviving. I was choosing. I didn't wait. The moment I walked away from Sebastian, I already knew what the next move had to be. I couldn't keep reacting to them step by step. If I wanted control, I had to break the pattern. I had to stop being Daisy Evans, the fragile heiress they could manipulate, and become the version of me they were trying to erase. That version had a name. Q. Back in my room, I locked the door and pulled the curtains. My hands moved fast, not hesitating anymore. Laptop on. Hidden partition. Encrypted system. It all came back like muscle memory. Not full memories, not yet, but instincts. Enough to move. I opened a private channel. Louis. He responded in less than 2 seconds. You sound different. I am. Good, he said. Because things just escalated. Explain. I dug deeper into Rosa Moore's project files, he said. She didn't just steal designs. There are embedded data tags. Someone has been feeding her materials directly from a private database. Source. Locked. But the encryption pattern matches the same network we traced earlier. Alexander McKay. Of course. I leaned back slightly. Then we stopped playing small. Louis paused. Define small. We don't expose Rosa quietly anymore, I said. We make it public. That's risky, he replied immediately. If you go public, your family will respond hard. And if McKay is watching... I know, I cut in. That's the point. Silence. Then Louis exhaled softly. All right, I'm in. What do you need? Everything, I said. Rosa's stolen files, Ryan's transaction records, Barry's share transfers, and the medical logs tied to DR. Alan Cross. You're going nuclear. Yes. Then we do it clean. One drop. Maximum impact. Exactly. I closed the channel and stood up. Step 1, Rosa. The opportunity came faster than I expected. Evans Group was hosting a live design showcase that evening. Rosa was the main highlight. Press, investors, cameras, everything she needed to rebuild her image after the last failure. Perfect stage. I walked into the venue like nothing had changed. Elegant dress, calm expression, the same Daisy everyone expected. Ryan was already there, talking to a group of investors. When he saw me, he smiled and walked over. You made it, he said, placing a hand lightly on my back. I was worried you might still be unwell. I'm fine, I replied. I didn't want to miss Rosa's big moment. His smile held, but his eyes sharpened slightly. Good. Let him wonder. Rosa was backstage, preparing. I stepped in just as she was checking the final display. She turned, surprised to see me. Daisy. You came. Of course, I said gently. I want to support you. Her expression softened. That means a lot. I walked closer, glancing at the screen behind her. The final designs. Clean. Polished. Stolen. You've worked hard, I said. She smiled. I have. I held her gaze for a second longer. Let's hope everything goes smoothly this time. Something flickered in her eyes. She remembered what happened last time. Good. Then I turned and walked out before she could say anything else. The show started. Rosa stood on stage, confident again. The audience watched closely. Cameras rolling. Everything was perfect. Until it wasn't. Halfway through her presentation, the screen behind her glitched. Just for a second. Then the images changed. Not the polished designs. The raw files. Layer by layer. Original creators. Metadata. Timestamps. Proof. The entire room went silent. Rosa froze. What is this? She said, her voice shaking slightly. The screen kept changing. More files. More evidence. Then, Ryan's transactions appeared. Transfers connected to Rosa. Payments. Hidden accounts. Gasps spread through the audience. Barry stood up immediately, his expression dark. Cut the feed, he said sharply. But it was too late. Because this wasn't just the screen. Louis had already pushed everything online. Live. Global. I stood in the crowd, watching calmly as everything collapsed exactly the way I planned. Rosa tried to speak, but the words didn't come out. Her perfect image was breaking in real time. Ryan turned toward me, and for the first time, he wasn't calm. "Daisy," he said, walking straight toward me. "Did you?" I tilted my head slightly. "Did I what?" His jaw tightened. Before he could say anything else, security rushed in. The event was shut down. Reporters started shouting questions. Cameras turned from Rosa to all of us. Chaos. Exactly what I wanted. But I knew this wasn't over. Because people like Ryan don't lose quietly. I felt it before it happened. The shift. The silence behind the noise. Hens grabbed my arm. Strong. Sudden. I didn't resist. I didn't scream. Because I already knew. This was his move. They pulled me through a side exit, away from the crowd. No guitnisis. No cameras. Just fast, controlled movement. A car door opened. I was pushed inside. And then, Ryan Blake stepped in after me. The door slammed shut. Silence filled the car. He didn't speak immediately. He just looked at me. Really looked. Like he was seeing me for the first time. "That was you," he said finally. Not a question. A statement. I leaned back slightly, meeting his gaze without fear. "What makes you think that?" His expression darkened. "Because this isn't the Daisy I built." There it was. The truth. Out loud. I smiled. Small. Cold. "Then maybe," I said quietly, "you never really knew me." His hand shot out, grabbing my wrist hard this time. "You think this is a game," he said, his voice low. "You think you can expose us and walk away?" "I'm not walking away," I replied calmly. "Then what are you doing?" he demanded. I didn't hesitate. "I'm taking everything back." For a moment, neither of us moved. Then he laughed. Short. Sharp. "You're too late," he said. "You already signed everything over." "I know," I said. That made him pause. Just for a second. And that second was enough. "Because I let you," I continued. Silence. Real silence this time. His grip loosened slightly. "You let me," he repeated. I leaned closer. "So you would think you won." Something changed in his expression. Not anger. Not control. Uncertainty. Good. Because that meant I was finally ahead. He pulled back slowly, studying me like I had become something unfamiliar. "Who are you?" he asked. I held his gaze, and for the first time, I didn't hide it. "Someone you should have never touched." The car stopped. The door opened again. We weren't at home. We weren't at the company. This was somewhere else. Private. Isolated. Ryan stepped out first, then turned slightly. "Welcome to the part of the story," he said quietly, "where you realize you're not in control." I stepped out after him. Calm. Steady. Because the truth was, he still didn't understand. I wasn't trapped. I walked into this. On purpose. And this time, I wasn't the one being hunted. The place Ryan brought me to wasn't a house. It wasn't an office either. It was something in between, clean, controlled, empty in a way that told me everything here was meant for one purpose only. No decorations, no distractions. Just function. A holding place. I stepped inside without hesitation. 2 men stood near the entrance. Security. Trained, silent. Not random guards. Professionals. That alone told me this wasn't just Ryan's operation. Barrymore was already inside, standing near a long table. My uncle. The man who had been smiling at me for years while slowly taking everything that belonged to me. Next to him stood Rosa. Her makeup was slightly smudged, her expression no longer soft or controlled. For the first time, she looked exactly like what she was. Cornered. "Daisy," Barry said calmly, like we were in a normal family meeting. "You've caused quite a mess." I walked forward and stopped a few steps away. "You mean I exposed you?" Rosa scoffed. "You think this changes anything? You have no idea how deep this goes." "I know enough," I said. Ryan closed the door behind me. The sound echoed slightly. "Then let's see how much you really know," he said. Barry gestured toward the chair in front of the table. "Seat." I didn't move. "I prefer standing." A small smile appeared on his face. "Still stubborn?" "Still lying," I replied. For a second, no one spoke. Then Barry sighed lightly. "You were easier to manage before." There it was again. the truth slipping out. You mean when I didn't remember anything? I asked. Rosa's expression changed. Ryan's eyes narrowed. Barry didn't deny it. Instead, he nodded once. Yes. Silence filled the room. But it didn't feel tense. It felt clear. Because now, everything was out in the open. You used DR. Alan Cross to drug me, I said. You had Ryan control my decisions. Rosa took my work and built her reputation. And in the background you moved my shares out of my control. Barry didn't interrupt. He just listened. Because he knew I was right. And all of this, I continued, wasn't even your idea. That made him pause. Just slightly. Alexander McKay, I said. The name landed in the room like a weight. Rosa looked away. Ryan's jaw tightened. Barry's expression changed. Not fear. Respect. You're smarter than I expected, he said quietly. I always was, I replied. You just made sure I forgot. For a moment, no one moved. Then Ryan stepped forward again. Enough talking, he said. You've made your move. Now it's our turn. He signaled to one of the guards. The man stepped closer. I didn't react. Because I was waiting. Take her. Don't. The voice cut through the room instantly. Cold. Controlled. And very familiar. Everyone turned. Sebastian Hart walked in like he owned the place. No rush. No hesitation. Just presence. The guards didn't move immediately. Because even they knew who he was. Ryan's expression darkened. You shouldn't be here. Sebastian didn't look at him. His eyes were on me. Are you hurt? He asked. No, I said. That was enough for him. Then, he turned his attention to the rest of the room. You're done, he said. Barry let out a quiet laugh. You think you can walk in here and end this? I'm not ending anything, Sebastian replied. I'm taking her out. Ryan stepped forward. Try it. That's when it shifted. The air. The tension. Everything snapped into place. The guards moved first. Fast. Trained. But Sebastian was faster. The first one barely had time to react before he was on the ground. The second tried to grab him from behind. Failed. Clean movements. No guastid motion. I stepped back slightly, giving him space. This wasn't chaos. This was control. But then, Sebastian stopped. Just for a second. His hand tightened. His breathing changed. I saw it immediately. The poison. His body wasn't keeping up. Sebastian, I started. I'm fine, he said, but his voice was tighter now. Ryan noticed it too. Of course he did. Interesting, Ryan said slowly. He's weaker than usual. Barry's eyes narrowed. The serum is progressing. Serum. Madness serum. So they knew. That meant they were involved. My chest tightened, but I forced myself to stay focused. Sebastian moved again, but slower this time. Still precise. Still dangerous. But not at full strength. And they saw it. Ryan smiled. That changes things. He stepped forward again. This time more confident. You're not leaving here with her. Sebastian didn't answer. He just moved. But this time, Ryan blocked him. Not fully, but enough. That alone told me something was wrong. Sebastian should have been able to take him down instantly. But he didn't. The poison was getting worse. Fast. I stepped forward. Stop. Both of them paused. Daisy, Sebastian started. Stop, I repeated. I looked at Ryan. Then at Barry. Then at Rosa. All of them watching. Waiting. Calculating. Then I made the decision. I dropped the small blade I had hidden in my sleeve. The sound was sharp. Clear. Everyone froze. What are you doing? Sebastian asked, his voice low. I didn't look at him. I'm ending this part, I said. Ryan frowned. Ending. I stepped forward slowly. Calm. Deliberate. You want control, I said. You want me. You want Evans. Yes, Ryan said. Then take me, I replied. Silence. Real silence. Even Sebastian didn't move. Daisy, no, he said. I ignored him. Because this wasn't surrender. This was strategy. If I walk out of here with him like this, I continued, he dies. That was the truth. And they all knew it. Sebastian's condition was unstable. If this fight continued, he wouldn't make it. I turned slightly, just enough to meet his eyes. For a second. Just a second. And I let him see it. The plan. The control. I choose him, I said quietly. Not the fight. Not revenge. Him. Sebastian went still. Completely still. Ryan watched both of us carefully. Then he smiled. You're finally making sense, he said. Barry nodded slowly. Good, he added. Then we proceed. Rosa stayed silent, but her eyes never left me, because she understood something the others didn't. I wasn't giving up. I was stepping deeper. The guards moved again, this time not attacking, containing. Sebastian didn't resist. Because now, he understood too. As I pulled him back, I didn't move. I stood exactly where I was. Calm. Steady. In control. Because this wasn't the end. This was the turning point. And as Ryan stepped closer again, I met his gaze without fear. You think you've won, I said softly. He smiled. I know I have. I almost laughed. Because the truth was, he had no idea what was coming next. I didn't resist when they separated us. Sebastian was pulled back by the guards, his condition unstable but his eyes still locked on me. He understood now. Not everything, but enough. Enough to trust me. That was all I needed. Ryan stood in front of me, calmer than before, like everything had returned to his control. You made the right choice, he said. Finally. I tilted my head slightly. Did I? Barrymore stepped forward, folding his hands behind his back like this was just another negotiation. You'll come back with us. Quietly. No more public incidents. We fix the narrative, stabilize the company, and everything goes back to normal. Normal! I repeated. Rosa finally spoke, her voice low. You don't have a better option, Daisy. I looked at her. Really looked. For someone who just got exposed in front of the entire industry, you're surprisingly confident. Her lips pressed together. Good. Let her feel it. Ryan exhaled slightly, like he was done being patient. Enough. We don't have time for this. He reached for my arm again. And that's when everything changed. My phone vibrated. Once. Short. Exactly on time. I smiled. Small. Barely noticeable. But Ryan saw it. What is that? He asked immediately. I didn't answer. Because I didn't need to. The lights in the room flickered. Then, every screen inside the building turned on at the same time. Monitors. Tablets. Wall displays. All of them. And then, Louis Mescal's voice came through the speakers. Calm. Slightly amused. Hi. If you're seeing this, it means Daisy gave me the signal. For those who don't know me, I'm Louis Mescal. I handle things people like you try to hide. Ryan's grip tightened on my arm. What did you do? I didn't look at him. Watch. The screens changed. Barry's transactions. Clear. Detailed. Illegal transfers of shares. Hidden accounts. Every single step he took to take control of Evans Group. Rosa's designs. Side by side with the original creators. Proof of theft. Timestamped. Undeniable. Then, Dr. Alan Cross appeared on screen. A recorded video. Him preparing injections. Labeling doses. Discussing memory suppression cycles. The room went silent. Completely silent. Even the guards stopped moving. Louis's voice continued. Oh, and for the medical part, one backed it up 3 times. External servers. Law enforcement access. Media access. You can't erase this. Barry's calm expression finally cracked. Shut it down, he said sharply. It's already everywhere, Louis replied. By the time you're hearing this, the entire network has it. Ryan released my arm slowly. For the first time, he looked uncertain. Rosa stepped back slightly, her breathing uneven. This isn't possible. It is, I said quietly, because this was the real plan. Not just exposing them, making sure they couldn't recover. Barry turned toward me slowly. You planned this? Yes. You let us bring you here. Yes. His eyes darkened. You used yourself as bait. I smiled. Now you understand. Silence again. But this time, it wasn't control. It was collapse. Ryan ran a hand through his hair, his composure slipping. Even if this goes public, we can still. No, I cut him off. He stopped. Because my voice changed. Completely calm. Completely certain. You can't fix this, I said. Not this time. The screens changed one last time. A name appeared. Alexander McKay. The room froze. Even Barry. Lewis's voice dropped slightly. And for the final piece, meet the man behind everything. The screen showed data. Encrypted transactions. Connections. Orders. Every line leading back to one source. Alexander McKay. Ryan stepped back. Impossible. No, I said. Just hidden. And then, a new voice entered the room. Not from the speakers. From the door. You went further than I expected. Everyone turned. Alexander McKay. He stood there like he had been watching everything from the beginning. Tall. Calm. No expression. The kind of presence that didn't need to prove anything. Now I understood why everyone else was just a piece. He was the one controlling the board. I wondered when you would wake up, he said, looking directly at me. I met his gaze. No fear. No hesitation. You made a mistake, I said. He tilted his head slightly. Did I? You underestimated me. For a moment, no one moved. Then, he smiled. Not impressed. Interested. Perhaps, he said. But you're still standing in my space. I took a step forward. Slow. Deliberate. And you're standing in mine. Silence. Heavy. Then, movement behind him. Sebastian. He stepped forward, no longer held back. Still weakened, but standing. Still fighting. I told you, he said quietly, his eyes on McKay. She's not someone you can control. McKay looked between us, then nodded once. Good, he said. That makes this more interesting. Before anyone could react. Sirens. Loud. Close. Multiple vehicles. Barry turned sharply. What is that? Lewis answered through the speakers again. That would be the consequences. Law enforcement. Media. Everything closing in at once. Ryan looked at me again. This time. Not control. Not anger. Realization. You planned all of this. Yes. Rose's voice trembled. Daisy, why? I looked at her. Because she still didn't understand. Because you took everything from me, I said. And thought I would stay broken. Barry didn't speak anymore. Because he knew. It was over. McKay stepped back slightly, already calculating his next move. But this time, he wasn't ahead. Not anymore. Sebastian moved closer to me, his presence steady despite everything. You okay? He asked. I nodded. I am now. The doors burst open. Officers rushed in. Voices filled the space. Orders. Commands. Control shifting again. But this time, not theirs. Ours. I stood there, watching it all unfold. Calm. Steady. Finished. Because this wasn't just revenge. This was everything. Everything they tried to erase. Everything I took back. And as Sebastian's hand found mine, warm, real, I finally understood something simple. They didn't just lose control. They lost me. For good. And that's where Daisy's story changes forever, from a controlled puppet to the one who controls the game. Justice is served, love is reclaimed, and the truth finally wins. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay with me for more.